Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine. I am a singer and yodeler who lives in Los Angeles, and I am also a vocal coach. And today I want to talk about how you can coach yourself if you cannot afford voice lessons. I know a lot of us want to improve our voice and we want to improve upon our technique, but not everyone can afford either regular lessons or even just one-off lessons. So today I want to talk about how you can help yourself in the best way so that you can be successful even if you cannot afford a vocal coach. Let's get into it. My number one tip for you if you cannot afford voice lessons is to record yourself and listen back to yourself. Not only listening back to yourself, but also looking at yourself as you're singing. While we're singing, we don't always hear or see what we're doing. That might actually make singing a lot harder, or we might not hear if we sing any wrong notes or if we have a very strained sound while we're singing, and all of that becomes a lot more obvious when we're listening back when we're not actively singing. So that's the most important point actually of this video, is to record yourself and listen back. Even if you just do small clips at a time to work on a specific phrase, record yourself, ideally on video so you can both see and hear yourself, and then listen back to it and look at it. Then you will notice, okay, how does it sound? And how do I look? Meaning, what am I doing with my body, with my face? Am I moving my jaw in a weird way? Am I having a weird posture that might not be good for singing? Those are all the things that are important and can go into singing. And it's also really important because you will only really notice your progress if you have something to look back to. So make sure to record yourself and be your own guide. And am I getting better? Am I sounding like I'm straining? How do I look as I'm doing this? Do I look like I'm really having a hard time, or do I look like I'm just straining even with my face? Am I making this type of face, or do I look relaxed? Does my voice sound like it's smooth and easy, or does my voice sound like I'm not reaching the notes? There's so many things you will notice as you're doing this, and it's so helpful to keep recording yourself. I'm sorry my camera is shaking. It's because my bunnies are messing with my tripod. So that's the most important thing. Even with all the other tips that are coming, record yourself and listen to it, and then do it again by changing one thing, and then listen to it again and see what changed. See if it got better or worse. That's the number one thing. Even with that, you'll get a long way, because even though you're not a vocal coach, you can tell a lot just by hearing yourself and looking at yourself. So do that. The next tip is very similar, but it's not the same, because as you're singing, what you can also do is you can look into a mirror, and ideally you will be standing up and you will see your whole body, but the most important thing is that you see your face in the mirror, and you can look at your jaw, you can look at what your eyes are doing, you can look at your position of your chin or your whole, how your face is angled. What you don't want to do is a lot of this, because you're stretching here in a way that's really not helpful for the vocal folds. Quite on the contrary, actually. Look at yourself in the mirror so you can notice these things as you're doing them. And sometimes just by looking at it, I find that my students already relax a lot more because they're looking at themselves. And so those first two things are actually very similar, but you can catch those things as you're doing it if you're looking in a mirror. Number 3, only focus on one thing at a time, because you can only do so much. And when you add something new that you haven't tried before, or something that you're trying to slightly change, it's hard to focus on 3 things at a time. So don't try to make your sound bigger and higher at the same time if both of those things are tricky for you. Do one thing, and then when you feel like you got a good grip on that thing, add the other. So don't overwhelm yourself. Be kind to yourself. On top of number 1, number 4 is probably the most important one, is to listen to your body. You feel when something feels like you have to work really hard in a way that actually feels tight and hard and raspy and just bad. If your body is saying this part here hurts in any way or feels very uncomfortable, then stop. Don't force it if you're feeling that. take a break and restart. If you're feeling something in here in a tight way, that's never a good thing. That is a really important thing when you're trying to teach yourself or when you're trying to coach or guide yourself, is that you listen to your body. Certain things can feel exhausting when we sing because we're using our body and our body is our instrument. And sometimes it feels very draining mentally because we have to pay so much attention to what we're doing. And often we need to use our muscles down here, so our body is working. But if these muscles around here are working, and if your voice starts feeling tired and your throat starts feeling tight, then you're doing something that's really not helpful and that you shouldn't be doing, and that's not gonna get you any further, even if you try to push through it. So definitely don't do that. Listen to your body as you're singing, and that will be a very, very good indicator to if you're doing things right or if you're doing things in a way that is more harmful than good. And even though something might not hurt, doesn't always mean it's the most perfect way to do it, but at least you're not harming yourself. Because the last thing that you want to do is give yourself vocal nodules or a sore throat or anything of that nature. We don't want that. You don't want that. It's not fun. And then you're going to have to take a pause from singing. So listen to your body. Number 5, obviously there's a lot of tools out there that can help you with getting to know your voice and getting better at certain things singing wise. There are so many YouTube videos that you can watch, and there are a lot of free resources, even apps that you can use to help guide you in your vocal journey. Definitely take advantage of those, but use the ones that speak to you and that make sense to you. There are so many vocal coaches, and it's kind of the same thing as having a vocal coach or even a therapist in real life. You want to find the one that suits you, that you feel comfortable with, that makes sense to you as you're listening to them explaining things, and that you feel like actually helps guide you in a way that helps you improve. So that is important, and that is important also for these online resources that you might be using. It has to make sense to you. It should be fun also, and it should feel like what you're learning from those resources is actually at least a little bit helpful. Keep in mind, if things get harder from watching something instead of easier, then that's a sign that you might want to look at something else. Harder in the beginning is normal, but if you keep watching someone's content or someone's free resources and it only gets harder, then maybe try another one. Number 6 is to rest, hydrate, and just be kind to yourself. Because just like going to the gym, where you won't just go once and have like these super big muscles all of a sudden, it's the same with singing. Our vocal folds, our vocal cords are in a way a muscle, and we also train a lot of the muscles that are connected to singing. So this is a muscle memory thing, this is a figuring it out thing, and it's a training thing. So you won't just practice once or a week or maybe even a month and have the perfect voice and the perfect vocal technique. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it usually takes a while to feel like you're getting somewhere, to feel like you're really comfortable with your voice, to feel like you really know your voice. And when you know your voice, that's when you can use your voice in different ways, in different ranges, and for different genres, for different types of voices and sounds. So be patient, take some rests, don't overdo it, and trust yourself. And the last thing, which is number 7, is to experiment and have fun. Keep in mind that still you don't want to feel like you're harming yourself or you're hurting yourself. That's more important still, but have fun in imitating different people, different sounds, different accents. Just make silly voices. Honestly, that's the best way to get to know your voice, and getting to know your voice is the number one thing in getting better with singing, because the better you know your voice, the more you know how to make these different sounds, and the more you know how to make these sounds without hurting yourself, the more you know how to make these sounds in an effortless and easy way. So imitating things, I find, can often be the best thing because you're not so serious about the outcome. You're not super serious about how is it gonna sound, and therefore we push less, we squeeze less, we just do what feels fun and easy. And that might not be the prettiest thing in the beginning, but just to figure out your voice and get to know your voice, it doesn't always have to be the prettiest. You just have to have fun with experimenting, whether that's animal sounds or different characters from movies or cartoons, or even like weird different versions of yourself. High pitch, low pitch, Goofy, Mickey Mouse. There's so many options. Just be silly and see how it feels when you do those things and how it sounds. So we're back to recording ourselves, because you can obviously listen back to all of that. And for fun, you can also try singing in all silly voices. See how does it feel, how does it sound, and what part of your voice does that bring out. And then when you have a good feeling for that, you can take a little bit of each. It's almost like a cooking recipe. I'm gonna take a little bit of this Mickey Mouse thing that I feel when I do Mickey Mouse voice, and a little bit of this Cruella de Vil thing that I found as I was imitating Cruella de Vil, and I wanna mold that into one. I know that sounds super weird and silly, but singing can be, and when you're practicing, you're practicing. When you're practicing, you're not trying to be perfect, you're just trying to get better. So keep that in mind. And then sometimes when we try to get better, we have to go through different steps first and explore. And exploring means you also find some parts of your voice that might not sound or feel as pretty, but that brings you to all these other parts of your voice that will be pretty and that will sound smooth and good. So definitely use the online resources, listen to yourself, feel into your body. What does it feel like? Where do you feel your voice as you're singing? That's also important. And be patient with yourself. Listen back to yourself. Watch yourself. What is your face doing? What is your body doing? And trust the process. And if you do have a little bit of money for vocal lessons, find someone who can do a one-off lesson with you, just to check in once in a while to make sure that you're still on the right track. And with that, I'm gonna end this video now. That was it for me today. I hope these coaching yourself tips helped you a little bit in helping yourself as you're trying to improve your voice and as you're trying to become a better singer. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'm happy to help if I can. Let me know if you liked this video, if it helped you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.